They were so good, so good. Do we have any ones in there? I thought I just heard something. Yeah, we did. Okay. You guys see me on Zoom? We'll all jump in. We've got a jam-packed meeting. Like crazy packed meeting, but it's gonna be fun. We're gonna. Hey girl, you better be steady.
She is studying.
I know she is. I know, I'm giving her a hard time.
How you doing? I'm so proud of you.
Anybody have a listing they wanna talk about? Anything exciting, anything you wanna share that's happening in your world? Yes, talk to me. Yeah, well, it's not official yet, we're waiting for everything to pop up.
Yeah, I have a real opportunity for anybody that's looking.
Yeah.
In the North Lake area.
Yeah, a listing? I love it.
Yes. And this owner has had some bad experiences, so
Sacramento?
with tenants.
Uh-huh.
So he's getting out of the landlord business.
There you go.
The house is, we just had it staged. It looks wonderful. It has new carpet and paint. It looks new. It was new last year. And now it looks new again.
Oh, good.
And Lennar is selling this square footage at $679.
Yeah,
And we're listed at $669. And there's movement there that can be had. We do have a 2% concession on that for the buyer's agent.
nice.
And I mean, it's anybody looking in the mid 600s, it's a deal.
Okay. Make an offer.
4 bedrooms.
I heard
4
negotiating
beds.
right there. There's a lot of negotiating, that's what I heard. That's all I heard. Mid 600s negotiation. I love it. All right, we're gonna start pretty
I have
soon.
something.
Yeah?
We have a court case today, not we, but.
Like, that's what we really wanna talk about right now,
We're trying to say foreclosure.
but. Okay, there you go.
Accept petition is
Okay.
being, actually, hopefully it's gonna be approved today.
Yeah.
And once it's done, we already have it sold, okay? So we're just hoping that everything goes right. If it doesn't go right,
Very tough.
then I'll be very unhappy.
We don't wanna be back there. We don't want any unhappy people.
I mean.
But anyway, it's just kind of let you know all the different things that go on.
Yeah.
And, so we're all-
Definitely, like when you
Good
have.
vibes, good prayers, everything up there.
Definitely. You, the communication really has to be with that attorney as
Yes.
well,
Yes,
and a good communication.
yes.
So make sure if that ever happens, right? We're gonna start in a few minutes, you guys. Hang tight. Make sure it says welcome back. We have a lot of exciting news. Where's everybody over there? Danny, okay. Danny, Penny and I were talking. Penny's gonna be calling you shortly, just so you know. Got it, awesome. I hope Team 5's here.
Team 5 is here, yeah, I'm here. That's Team 5.
I know, I love more of the Team 5. Yeah.
Take it.
Harvey, how you doing? Anybody want to talk about anything good? What's happening in your world right now? What's happening? Give me something good.
It's Christmas.
Yes, it is. It is Christmas. Yes. Anybody done with their shopping? I am 99.9 done. Yes, I have a checklist in my head and I have to get it out so I can enjoy myself. Yeah. Well, what was that? What was that?
Like you not even started.
Oh my gosh, no. Actually, honestly, I am done. It's my husband's not done. This one gift that he needs.
Ah.
If I feel good, I might help him. But you know what I mean? It's his thing. And he needs to know it, but yeah. But yeah. Anybody else? Tell me something good, you guys. Come on, we're trying to do this so we can. Okay.
My birthday tomorrow and my exams tomorrow.
Yes. Okay, now I know why you did what you did. because it's your birthday and you want to make sure you're taking your test on your birthday. I love that. That is great news. That is awesome. And you're scoring what already?
Like 80, 90.
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
Maybe a couple 60, but
Hey,
no.
we're giving you all these good vibes right now, sister. Okay, you got this. I am so excited for you. Danny, you have any excitement or anything you want to share? What's going on in your world?
You want me to open up the Chrome?
Oh, is she on the phone?
I have something to share.
Yes. Tony.
We need coats.
We need coats. That's on here. Hey.
We need coats. Our box in there has 2 coats that I brought. And I've
Yes.
actually got 4 or 5 people that are sending coats here via Amazon. They
Got it.
went online, ordered, and they have them shipped here. So use that, leverage Amazon, tell people they can just go on Amazon, give them the office address. And they can ship it to you, and then you can have the privilege of putting it in the box. But we need coats.
This is happening in all of our offices, so we're gonna skip through that slide since we're talking about it right now. We are giving back coats in all of our offices. Some are just focused on children, and some are just focused on just, gently used coats or new coats, and we're giving it back. There's gonna be a couple of videos coming out in the next hour or two from the Ripon Manteca / Patterson office that they did some funny videos, so it'll be fun to see. It'll be all over on social. But you guys, right now it's a time of giving back. And thankful that we have coats on, but it's nice to give it back. It's nice to give back. And with KW, obviously we do things in May as a group, but in our culture, we're constantly doing and giving back. That's just us. So if you have any ideas, share away. But just keep in mind, Red Day is gonna be in May. We're gonna be probably be looking for applications shortly on that. Okay.
I have something to share.
I have something
Yes.
to share.
All right, I don't know who said that first. Was that you, Sherry? I don't know who said it first. Silver Bill. Who said it first?
I'm gonna go with me. That's
Okay, go
fine.
ahead.
So I came across a client.
Talk louder, Barb.
I'm
please.
sorry?
Can you talk louder?
I came across a client who is moving to Natomas, which is obviously an area that my team and I service. However, they had a property to sell in Lodi, actually too, and because of our satellite expansion market centers, we were able to keep the referral in-house, and I was able to send 2 listing referrals to an agent under our banner.
So did you guys hear that? So she was able to give 2 listing referrals to another office of ours, right?
And
So out of 5
listing
offices.
agreements are signed, by the way, so I mean, not just a contact, they were solidified
Yeah.
before the referrals were sent.
She said it's a solid referral is what she's saying. So, and under our umbrella, so that's wonderful. So thank you so much, Carm, I appreciate you. And that's probably one of the main things I really wanted to conquer with our contest, the end of the year contest, is everybody getting to know each other in all the 5 offices, right? And you're cultivating leads in between the 5 offices and you're sharing things. And that's totally happened a lot on Team 5. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Danny, you want to share something?
I did. So heads up, keep an eye out. We're going to be sending out some information in our upcoming Ripon location. January 3rd, mark your calendars. We will be doing a vision board. So we are super, super excited, and just please mark your calendars for January 3rd. It will be a vision board that we'll be putting together. Vision board party, vision, whatever.
Thank you so much. That'll be awesome. I can't wait. All right. Anybody else telling me something good? What's going on in your world?
Can I share?
Yes.
So I have to give a shout out to all the agents that helped to participate in the photos with Santa in Lockford. It was so fun to see. You guys, we had the guy from across the street taking videos and sharing it of us when we were out, Santa and us were out waving and getting people to come in for the photos with Santa. But just big kudos to all the agents who helped to participate. It was awesome.
Great. Thank you for leading the way. What you missed on that part was the people across the street who took all the pictures, put it on their social media, and tagged KW Lockford. I mean, that's pretty good. That's what you want. You want people tagging each other, right? So that was awesome. And so, yeah, I learned that from your daughter, just so you know. Awesome. Anybody else? Tell me something good. Yes, please. You go first.
Oh, me? Did you say anything yet about the Christmas party?
Well, a little bit, but please tell me more.
Okay, was that just fabulous or what?
Yes, it was. Thank you.
All of the conversation, all the emails, everything back and forth. Debbie, thank you very much. Thank you for being chair. And me as co-chair, I am so glad it's over. It was
Thank
fun.
you both.
So thank you too, to you too as well. Thank
Oh,
you.
I
our
wanted to
pleasure.
thank
Our
a couple of
pleasure.
other people too.
Yes, please.
So, Stephen T, thank you so much. You did a fabulous job of information.
Thank you for giving us the point to make sure things happen. Yes.
And then Jeremy, I don't know if he's on, but Jeremy from Fair Oaks was our DJ. He did
was
an
awesome.
amazing job.
Yeah, he did a
It was
really good
great.
job.
We're dancing at the end, so that was wonderful.
I was used to seeing him all dressed down. And he's like, you don't even know who I am. I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that right now.
I wanted to thank both of you for entertaining all of the wishes we had all year and letting us do what we did, and it turned out to be great. And also to thank all the volunteers that helped us throughout the year with all of the events. That was our last one for
Yes.
2021.
Liz, thank you so much.
And
That was
Liz as well.
amazing.
Yes.
You're helping us sell the
Yeah.
tickets. We raised how much money on the tickets?
600 and something.
Wow, that is awesome.
Was it 600? That's what I heard.
400.
Oh,
890.
490.
$500.
So it goes to Red Day.
It's going to Red Day.
Red Day.
Yeah, it's divides out. Awesome. All right, anybody else? Yes.
So,
Thank you for being one of the sponsors,
Well,
Selfie.
thank you. I'm sorry I missed it, but I missed it for the only reasonable explanation for missing it. I was at Taylor Swift. So I make sure everyone knew that.
I don't think I knew how to do
In case you didn't know, I did post it on my door while I was gone, but I should have to say it for the next few months. So, yeah, I was at Taylor Swift in case anyone wanted to. Thank you. But thank you also for making Shy exhausted.
Right.
She had an amazing time. So
Good.
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 Yeah.
I'm so glad. We had people from Patterson, Lockford, Ripon, Fair Oaks, Davis, everybody was there. Everybody was there. And if you weren't there, you should have been there. Okay, because we had a blast. We danced. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. Yeah. Anybody else? Anything good you want to share? Because we're moving forward. All right. Oh, person.
I got you.
All right, click away, Dolphin. Picture listing. Listings, come on. Yes.
Yes, I have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, halfplex, down the street, South Natomas, right across from South Natomas Park. So we're looking for a buyer,
Give me a price.
$430.
430. Not bad at all.
But if you, come in with a nice reasonable
Ooh.
offer. we'll
Wait, give
consider
me
it.
your negotiation.
Negotiate, yeah, negotiate.
Motivated seller.
It's a nice
Yeah.
place, great location, so, yeah.
Awesome.
Come on
Thank
down.
you so much for sharing. Anybody else? This is, come on, you guys. Are we all like holding out? What's going on? What's going on? We holding out? All right, let's move forward because we got a jam pack. Okay, I think we already touched base on this, but we've got a lot of people who just came in. Remember, we are, we need coats. We need coats in every office. Make sure you are bringing in coats. It can be gently used, but let's make sure this is happening. All right?
Can we add, where we have one at Joe's office on there as a drop-off location as well?
Yes, we sure can.
Thank you.
Is there an ad like this that I can post on my social media?
Take it off mine. Mine's in neutral. So, circle
Just have it.
is,
You can just grab it and use it.
and use it as and put your own logo on it and put your own name on it, right, on circle?
All the PC coaches receive the link, send them to your groups.
And the ALC.
And they got it too.
And if people are asking where the coats are going, various places.
Various places.
Yeah.
So each office is doing their own gig. Yeah, yeah. People are texting me. Okay, keep going. Okay, so I'm gonna back us up. I'm sorry. So leverage AI chat GPT. This is a team meeting January 22nd. It is on Zoom. This gal was on stage with Gary Keller at Mega Camp. She's amazing. Make sure you are here to learn the way she is succeeding in real estate.
Then 22nd.
Yeah, it's on the calendar and it's on
Okay, cause that's it.
circle.
It says November, because we did reschedule her,
Oh.
but.
Due date.
It's down in the corner.
Due date is on the bottom in red. Yeah, that's a little confusing.
Yeah.
Can somebody, where'd Liz go? I'm gonna have Liz, okay, okay, who signed up for family reunion? Right on, right on, okay, let's do this, top producer, top producer, top producer. So you guys, they're doing something right. Family reunions in Vegas. Go on mykw.kw.com, mykw.kw.com, and it's gonna pop up. And it's family reunion, where everybody comes together worldwide for a conference. And you get to pick the classes that you want to attend. And you will be a part of like the main forum, where Gary Keller's interviewing the main agents for that year. And the people who are on stage, in order to get on stage with Gary Keller, you have to be what we call a one-pager. That they actually give you a QR code that you can scan while, being in the audience, with all their systems and models for their success. Yes, so make sure,
Can I say
yes,
something to that?
please.
I went to my first family reunion last year, 2023.
What?
I know, right?
What?
That's what John said. That's what he said.
As a team leader.
And it was a game changer.
I did
Game
not know
changer.
this.
I know, right? I know it, I haven't been with. But it's kind of pricey. I mean, I thought it was, but it was
It's
worth
an
every.
investment in your business.
It's totally worth every penny. Totally worth every penny. And yes, you get to choose classes that interest you.
Yes.
And before you go, this is what I do, before you go, you make a list of people or places or things you want to do while not only in your Las Vegas,
Yes.
but people to talk to within Keller Williams. Who do you want to have coffee with?
Yes.
Who do you want
Do
to
not
have?
go to lunch with your best friend.
No, yeah, no. Yeah, Leslie.
Do not.
No more of that.
Sorry, Leslie. You want to go and network with people you don't know, because you know what? You get a referral.
You do,
right?
you do. And
All you need is,
I've gotten 4 this last year just from people that I met at Family Reunion.
yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Pricing.
From across the
Gary
country.
just dropped
Yeah.
it down.
Yeah.
What?
Off the pricing, Gary just dropped the price. So
What?
it's like 12 or not.
He's dropping the,
$1,099 and they issued,
Yeah.
they're issuing refund.
Yay, we get a refund.
there you go, thank you.
So there you go.
I didn't hear it. Yeah, that's awesome. However, what I did hear, it is gonna go back up. So timing is everything. If you're gonna sign up, do it now. It's an investment. mykw.kw.com and it'll pop up. Family, the link will just pop up.
Or circle.
Or circle. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was on
Thank you
circle.
for the registration.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Awesome.
And it's a lot of fun, but she's right, the education makes it worth it, but the networking is. Trust me, I
So-
always go with the target people I wanna talk to
I can't see everybody, can I see everybody? So I know Taylor, if you're on, I want you to chat this up. Taylor Thompson, she's goaled out next year for 50 transactions. Her goal every single night is to attend, that like KW Luxury, their big dinner. KW Commercials, their big dinner. Because guess what? On the communities that she's involved in, because KW Luxury, community, land, whatever, they network. They get a ton of leads going back and forth. I'm just saying. And the girl's killing it. I pulled her numbers up with somebody earlier. I think it was like 126% this year. I don't know, she's doing something right, and she's all over social. All right, anybody have any questions? All right, go. Top 20, and I'm not gonna be able to read this. Afton, number 1, Taylor, number 2, Michael, number 3, Parm, number 4, Rachel Wasuri from Ripon, number 5, Jenna Stallings, Andre, Irma, Nada, Jen, Amethyst, Susie, Angel, I didn't see that, you guys. I even said that before I even started the meeting, right? That's how we call them. Yeah. Christina, Dennis, Sandra, Brittany, Jonathan, Twan, and Michael. Thank you so much, you guys. This is exciting. And I've seen new names on there. congratulations, top 20. It's already posted on social, so you'll be able to see it.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, we're just pausing for a moment. We've got I hope you guys are ready. You got pen, paper, and notes, because we got a lot to go over.
Hey, Belly, Farm.
Harm, are you on?
I am.
Yes. Team 5. You did an awesome job.
Way to go, Team 5, whoever's on.
Yes, so it's very exciting.
Yeah.
We actually awarded her a certificate for leading the way, leading the top group, top team. What did you get out of being one of the top? What did you do differently, you think, that made sure it happened? Thank you.
Do what I always do, pass on the message, and it hits the ears that are willing to listen.
Yes.
That's it.
So consistency and just tapping on their shoulder and letting them know what's going on.
Yeah, sometimes reciprocation isn't all there because everybody's at a different point in their lives. But continuing with my message, whether it's interesting, boring, or just flat out annoying.
Yes.
And
but it worked.
Yeah. That's
And
it.
you're one of our top agents, and so you must be doing that in your business, and it trickled over into this contest.
Oh yeah.
And you made new
You can ask
relationships.
my team. I'm sure they'll vouch for the fact that it's the same repetitious stuff. And
Yes.
on some days I think they like it. On some days they probably don't want to hear it. So,
Yeah.
but it's
Wait, that's the bell, huh? Yeah.
it's what makes it work.
I love it. Thank you so much for leading the way. And thank you for making sure all the referrals that were getting passed through your team. That was nice. I know Chrissy and you, there's a few others just on your team. And they're very competitive. I can't tell you how many times somebody would text me, are we still doing this? And can we do this? And you know, how many points away are we with this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that.
It really goes to everybody on Team 5. You guys hustled. I see you. I see the people that were participating and responding. So well done, team.
Yeah, that is awesome. You'll be getting an email later on today or early tomorrow morning, the people who are on Team 5 with the 100 KW dollar bucks. So congratulations, kudos to you all. Okay. This is the scorecard. Should I rattle this off? Team 5 was the first place. Team 3 with John. Team 6, Leslie. Team 4, the Roadrunners, Jen. What?
I'm just saying that was really close.
I know, very, very close. Yeah, they should have been calling me because I could have told them. No, I'm just joking. So, Team 7, Brian. Team 9, Danny. Team 2, Andy. And Team 8, David. You guys, thank you, all the coaches, for taking time out of your busy day to make this happen. So, thank you so much. All right, I'll let you have this one.
So we'll get this started, but as you said, we're doing a lot of changes in the office with staffing, and part of this is a vision I wanted to do. Part of the reason we're having a lot of issues, I wanted to improve agent services to you guys, and part of it was when Megan was here, she was doing a lot of financials, and it was hard to do both at the same time. So I'm separating out those services. So now we have an MCA that is remote. She is an official MCA at Keller Williams already, but we're doing remote service, and now we have a 3-team member. From Olivia, Megan, and Rihanna. You may get emails from them. It's all through the KLRW email that you may get, where you get your commission demands and all that stuff. But they're going to be working remote, and they work every day on their stuff. They'll do your commission demands, ACH payments, all those sort of things are coming from them as well. And then, so just look out for them. They're all going to respond to the KLRW email. We will put out a list for you of phone numbers for them. So if you want to call them, they're available for phone calls. They'll answer their emails. They're just as if they're here, so just note that they're handling all the financial stuff, which is only going to touch your commission and really we're going to interact with them a lot. And then if you want to do Taylor Valencia, who is on my real estate team, will be moving over to the office side, and she'll be our market center operations manager. And so she will be responsible for agent services.
Yes.
So you'll be interacting with her on providing all the services, our value propositions. You have issues that need help, those sort of things. She's going to be there to help you. And also she'll be overseeing our operations staff to you to improve our customer service and ability to have that to you. Having said that, Taylor's about to go on maternity leave. If you
Yes.
consider it.
Good timing, good
So,
timing.
she is already working in that position right now, but she'll be going on maternity, she'll be back around February, so you'll see that start up. In the meantime, you can always come to me or Michelle, we can help you with any issues that you need in the meantime, so. Okay.
All
I want
right.
to introduce, oh, you.
No, you can do this one.
Okay.
Okay, so, I'll start it. So, Sherry Digoff and I have gone, I don't know how many years it's been. She was at KW Lodi, so, and she ended up, going, she hit her head and went someplace else, I guess, right? And then she ended up opening up her own brokerage. And so we just finished a merger with her brokerage and our brokerage. And so we're really excited about that. So please welcome Sherry.
So as you know, Bruce retired. Obviously, we're looking for a replacement. I'm so proud to have Sherry here. She's been in this for 24 years. President of a Lodi Association.
Yes.
So.
And you have a seat, right, with this coming year for CAR.
See, I've been a CAR director for the last couple of years and I have one more year to go as a CAR director, so.
So we're super happy to have Sherry as part of our managing broker part. So she'll be taking over a lot of duties that you've been coming to me recently on. I will still be assisting when it comes to dispute lawsuits. I had to go testify in a lawsuit the other day. So I will still be handling all that, but you'll see Sherry more integrated into the legal process and compliance process. So obviously she's well up to date, obviously as a car director on the form updates and things like that. So she can help you a lot and she has a wealth of experience, and don't worry, we'll be working together and you'll see her transition. But I'm super excited because I wear too many hats already, so I'm trying to remove hats. So I'm happy to have Sherry here to remove hats. But
Just excited to be here and be part of the team, and I look forward to getting to know you all better and work with you and get some business done.
Good, love it. Thank you so much.
okay, I just wanted to put it out there, we are gonna put out a contact list. You can take a photo, but you will get the slides, don't worry, we'll put this out to you. But we're gonna put out to you a new contact list with all the staff and contact information, with descriptions of what to do, so that you're clear on how to put in contact them.
Let's put that on Circle too. I don't know if Liz or if Patricia, just make sure we did the contact list on Circle. That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Now we're getting to the meat of things.
Bam, I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are new laws going into effect on January 1st, and new carving out with some new forms, coincide with some of the laws and just to update some things. So we're gonna be going, this is for you, this will happen January 1st. So literally now, right, basically, so you need to be up to date on these. So number one, this legislature, we have an R settlement that says we gotta have buyer broker agreements, remember all that? Now the state of California has passed their own law and said you have to do what NAR does. And part of the reason they did that was NAR only covered agents who were part of associations or companies that had a settlement with the thing. But if you were not part of an association, you didn't have to follow the rules. So what the state did was like, no, anyone with a license has to do a buyer broker agreement. And they also put this requirement in place, which is a state of California requirement. It can't be longer than 90 days. And if you look at the CAR form, it says it can't be longer than 90 days. It says it on there. Now, a big compliance issue we've been having is we see a lot of your buyer broker agreements and they're longer than 90 days. And that's quite common, we're seeing. So literally, if you write a buyer broker agreement that is longer than 90 days, it is a void contract right then. Done. It is not a valid contract. Meaning, the minute you go show, you think you have a valid one, you go show homes, you're doing actually illegal activities on your license. Does that make sense?
So don't do that.
So don't do that. So you have to put it no more than 3 months, 90 days. Make sense? So if it's December 11th today, I'll go January, February, March. I put March 11th on there. That makes sense? We're good? Now, don't worry. You can always extend it another 90 days if you want to. You have to have the, buyer sign another form, but you can always extend it, but you can't go longer than 90 days. If you put it longer than 90 days, the void contract, we will come and Sherry and I will come and slap you, so, okay? We won't slap you, but. Okay, hold on. Okay, another new law came out, well, this law was already in place. I'll bring up that one. A while back, I don't know if you remember, there was a party, a rave in Oakland, it's a building, and they were on the balcony and it collapsed, and everyone remember that? Okay. So
Can
then
you
that law-
guys mute, can you guys mute whoever is not muted? Because there's a lot of background sound. It's hard to hear you, John.
Okay. And whoever's not muted, mute it, so you can mute it. Just pull it over, pull it back. There is a law in place that says now you must inspect any balconies, well, actually, they say any structure that extends off the normal envelope of that building that is supported by wood structures. Wood. So what does that look like? Balconies that have wood, cantilevered out. So if you have a building, like if you think about a common, we have a UQ fourplex out here, a lot, which it has 4 units in that fourplex, and it has stairs on the side and a balcony on the back, because everyone knows so. If they're supported, which I know they are, by wood beams, it must be inspected by the owner every 6 years and certified. This is not a point of sale, so that it's not a point of sale requirement. So what's point of sale mean? What are the 3 point of sale requirements we have in California right now? That means something has to happen at the point of sale.
Water heater, smoke detector, carbon monoxide.
Thank you. Who said that? Danny, thank you. So remember, when you do a contract right now, you have a point of sale requirement. The water heater must be strapped. You must have CO detectors, 1 per floor, and you gotta have smoke detectors, right? We all know that. That's why they bring the checks with them, right? Okay. The wood balconies is not a point of sale requirement, but if you're representing a buyer who is purchasing a unit or a building with these issues, with these, then you need to make sure they're certified. They're supposed to certify every 6 years. We didn't have clarification on who the inspectors were. So they put out a clear list of who's inspectors. You have to have these grade of contractors or architects or engineers. So they're literally classifying who will qualify as an inspector for these, and they should certify these every 6 years. If that building or the condo has this and it's an HOA, it is the HOA's responsibility. If there is no HOA, it is the owner's responsibility. Okay. So if you're representing a buyer who's buying this, you want to make sure that they have certification. If they don't, then your buyer may be on the hook to get that inspected and certified. And if there's any repairs that need to be made, identified, then that your buyer would be responsible for making those repairs. And I don't know if you know, but we call it cantilever when you stick out a beam to support something. It's really hard because it goes into the whole building to like fix, right? It gets really expensive. So just make sure that you understand when you're doing this part. Now the problem was the implementation. It was supposed to go implemented this year, but it was really unclear who was a valid inspector. So they postponed it 1 year to give us clarity on inspectors. I'll pull up the form later, but I'm just gonna let you know, it's this out who are inspectors. If there is a balcony, and this includes stairs, so even if there's stairs on the outside of the thing and supported by wood or wood stairs, anything that extrudes from the envelope of the building that is supported by wood would be covered by this wood balcony and stairs.
Who is this statewide? What is this? And like who actually is holding people accountable to this if it's not a requirement for sale?
Okay, it is statewide. Okay. The local jurisdiction should be responsible for ensuring this, but you know how local places work, they struggle a lot, right, to maintain these things. So that's why I'm saying you need to be careful as an agent, because it's not a point of sale requirement. That means it's not gonna be like, do you have a certification? You're just gonna have to know to make sure it is, because then your buyer may be on the hook later if there isn't. So it's just something you gotta track. If you see stairs that are supported by wood or balconies, you gotta start thinking about having these inspections. Did they get certified yet?
Is this part of the TDS now?
They did put it in the SPQ, I believe.
Okay.
So they did put it in SPQ, so it could track it, but most agents, but then you're relying on the seller's knowledge. Right?
So is this something that you would advise your client to have a separate inspector
look at? Like how would we advise our clients on this?
If they postpone the implementation till next year where it's required. Okay. But it's not, and the form should be in there.
I've got it.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
It says who the inspectors are. Can you read?
Inspectors for common interest development, licensed structural engineers, licensed architects, or licensed civil engineers. For other properties, licensed architect, licensed civil or structural engineer, or a building contractor holding any or all of the A, B, or C5 license classifications. So it also says that one of three things should be happening. Either there's been an inspection and the work has been done, or there is an inspection showing work needs to be done, which needs to be disclosed. If you're the listing agent, you got to make sure that gets disclosed to buyer. If you're the buyer's agent, make sure you get any reports they have on this, or they have to disclose to you that no such reports have been made, and then you've got to negotiate from there.
Say where you found that.
This is on the wood balconies.
WBSA, I believe.
Yeah, what is it?
BSA should be one of the
WBSA,
last
wood balconies and
One of the
staircase
last forms in your file.
addendum. So if you've got a property that has anything like you said, extruding from the envelope of the property supported by wood, make sure that you address this issue.
And I'm just saying, especially on the buy side, because it's so new, some listing agents won't know this, and so they won't provide it. And come next year, your buyer will be on the hook for it, right? So right now it's voluntary, so if there's a balcony, even though it's not required right now, I would sort of request that from the sell side, at least get an inspection done. So that way your buyer knows what repairs are gonna happen and what they need to do if they come in next year.
There a clear definition of what a balcony is.
What they define it as is any structure, so if you have the envelope of the house, the main walls of the exterior walls of the house, any structure that is extruding from that structure that is supported by wood.
And at least 6 feet high.
At least 6 feet high, sorry, at least 6 feet off the ground. At least 6 feet off the ground.
Hey, John. Inspects balconies.
Well, we just read it off.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So if you look at the WBSA
Sorry
form,
about that.
if you're an HOA or you come to, if it's an HOA and even as condos, the HOA is responsible for that. But if it's not an HOA condo, or it's just a fourplex and you own 4 different units, right? Like those sort of things, it will be responsibility of the owner. For that is civil engineer, structural engineer, class A, B, or C licensed contractor. So you need to make sure you have a contractor inspector, which is fine on an individual level. Then they gotta have a real license. They can't just be down.
Contractor license, okay.
And you said this has to be done every 6 years.
The certification is 6 years.
So if one of your buyers buys a income property that has these steps, then you have to let them know that they're gonna have to do this.
Yeah, so if you're a property managing your property or doing anything like that, or they're investors and they're stairs, every 6 years, they gotta get an inspector out and certify it to stay current with the law. Because if they don't, and so the stairs break and someone injures themselves, you're in trouble. The owner's in trouble, liability. Right? Got a question? Yes.
Since with HOAs, the stories are often common areas, would the entire complex have to have that inspection?
Yeah, so we'd be responsible of the HOA.
That makes sense.
Would require to, and there's common communities here in North Thomas with balconies all over the place and stairs. They would be required to literally have an inspection done every 6 years for all the balconies.
So the associations are likely gonna start building that into their budget, so you will see that increase in the monthly payment that is for
Yeah.
all.
And then you'll see it this year, because a lot of the reason they postponed is we didn't have a clear definition of who the inspectors were, because we're like, who qualifies as an inspector for a balcony, right?
So if that house is sold, would that be accelerated, that 6 years? Would that have to be something that has to be done in your report when you're selling a house? Changing.
No, okay, so that's what I want to point out to you. This is not a point of sale requirement, meaning there's no trigger in the contract or anything to say, oh, wood balconies, make sure they're certified because it has to be certified. The rate's not gonna look for it. It's just a law.
So we basically just have to disclose that this is a thing and nobody on our side is holding them accountable to having this thing.
Right, as agents, I'm saying, you have to hold it accountable. If you're representing a buyer that has this on the property, then you need to know that we need to check that there's been inspected and certified.
Our due diligence.
You need to bust out the WBSA form and send it to them and say, please have your seller fill out, because there's stairs, a balcony and stairs, right? And you need to know what's happening, right? Or you're a buyer, because your buyer on January 1st, 2026 is gonna have to certify that every 6 years. And if the first inspection happens, says your dry rotted to hell, it's gonna be $25,000 to fix it. Well, your buyer's out $25,000. Make sense? We good. But it's not gonna show up, so that's the thing, is you just need to remember this, I think, now, this is just good practice as agents. It's not gonna show up on the RP or anything, you just gotta be like, hey, John said something about stairs and balconies. And even if you just remember that, I need to talk to Sherry, I need to talk to John, I need to talk to my coach, that's fine. But you gotta remember, if there's stairs and balconies and it's wood based, there's gonna be, January 1 starting, there's gonna be there's gonna be inspection required, and it's gonna be every 6 years, you're gonna have to repeat doing it. Alright,
And that's not gonna be mentioned on a 2DS or anything like that.
they put it on the SPQ, but you're relying on the seller to give you information, which, trust me, is not always the best. Because remember, what's the seller's requirement on TDS SPQ? What's their standard, legal standard?
That's
What's that?
That's clear enough.
No, it's, am I aware? Do I know? So, no one ever talked about balconies or what's that? That's not standard. Am I aware? So, the standard is that. So, if they had never heard about balconies or certification, they could say, I don't know, no. They could just check whatever they want, right? So, just note that, that's why good agents remember this stuff, right? So, are we good? Good. Do we beat wood balconies to death? Okay. Vincent, some of you may have got emails or texts or whatever for, about Vincent, business BOI things where if you have a company, you need to put your company there. Just so you know, this is a financial, Vincent is the Financial Crime Network. It's a group of federal agencies that do crime enforcement, and they are trying to figure out how companies are laundering money, bad people through shell companies and stuff like that. So they wanted everyone to just register and put it in there. And it was due this year, and if you go forward, it is pretty hefty. If you don't fill it out, it was $500 a day, up to $10,000 fine. You don't do it. You have to have a corporation, which is not a sole proprietorship, but an S corp, C corp, LLC, LLP. If you operate one of those as your business, or any business for that matter, you would have to do it before. And in California, we're super special because we have community property, which means your wife, your spouse owns 50%. That makes sense. So say you have your own real estate company and it's just you, and I did an S corp and I'm John Bernardo. I'm John Bernardo Realtor, right? But even if my wife isn't she doesn't own any of the stock, because it's community property, she technically owns 50%. So I would have to put her in the disclosure. Makes sense. So. But there's good news. It was due at January 1st here, but move forward. The good news is someone sued. Texas sued and said this violates state law. You can't do this to us because you overstep state rights. The states can do this, but the feds can't. You can't make us do it. That's what they said. It's in the court. It's probably going to go all the way to the Supreme Court, but it's on hold. But you can voluntarily report if you want to. That's up to you.
Okay.
Yes.
So John, I didn't know about the property thingy for my husband.
Right.
And I've already done that form. So now what?
Wrong. So I would
I
resubmit.
know.
I would resubmit. I would resubmit.
Just resubmit it?
Resubmit it, yeah.
Just start all over.
Yeah.
I think you can do an addendum or an amendment. So on the first page, instead of saying new, you're just gonna do, I think, an amendment to it.
And amend, yeah, you can change it. If you go to the site,
Yeah.
the BOI site, it says you want to amend your thing.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks,
But
Lauren.
it is now not required, which is kind of rolling the dice, because the court could say, the appeals court could say, oh yeah, that's it, and then back in, and I'll come to you like, it's due within 3 weeks, put it in, right? As I said, so, but this is if you have any corporation, not a sole proprietorship, but a corporation entity. Any questions on this?
So if it's an LLC corp and you're married, I think it's just safe to add the spouse on there, is what you're saying.
Correct.
John? Even if the
If
spouse
you're
or partner isn't in one of those entities.
Correct, so remember, and the threshold is 25% owner or above, or someone who makes significant decisions in the business. Does that make sense? So someone could be an owner, not an owner, and make significant business decisions. Or anyone who's an owner. If you're just owning your company, your spouse, as a real estate agent, your spouse would still qualify, because you probably, that person, he or she would technically own 50% of that. Not you would have to put her in as a 50-50 owner. Make sense? Yes.
John, I'm sorry, does this apply to S corp?
Any corporation.
Any corp?
Right now it's voluntary, but it's only held by court. But as soon as the courts say rule in favor of the feds, it goes into place right away. And the fines are pretty significant. Well, Sherry and I will let you know if this changes, but it could change rapidly. So if you don't want that, you go to the BOI site and just report voluntarily, then you're in compliance already.
So if you have an LLC or a corp with someone other than your spouse, but people are married, you have to report the spouses on there too, correct?
Correct. If they own more than 20% of the company and they have a spouse, both spouses need to go in there. Both people.
If in the state of California, you're registered as an LLC, but if you register with the federal government as an S corp, that pulls you in too. So make sure that you are doing this for both.
Yes. And if you have multiple businesses, you need to do it for each business. Okay, we're good. But it's voluntary now, but it may come back really quick. Okay. All right. FHA new loan limits, I'm not gonna go over all the limits, but just know every year. A lot of you won't know loan. Okay. So there's FHA loan limits, meaning you can't do a loan in a certain county over this price. They won't approve it, right? But they have now high loan limits too. So if you're in an especially expensive area, FHA gives you a little more bandwidth, right? They give you a little, we call it high conforming. So high conforming loan limits in there. Now, most of California, a lot of the expensive counties get high performing adjustments because they're expensive. Sacramento, one of those. If you go to Amador, probably not, but Sacramento definitely, right? So you just need to look at it. I recommend you scan this, you put it in there. This is just for loan limits, so you know, and they go pretty high and they adjust per unit. So if you're buying a fourplex and living in one, do an FHA loan, just note that because I've had several broker issues where the loan goes sideways because they're purchasing property. They made an offer, got to accept this FHA, but the FHA loan limit, and so it tanks the loan. So you should know your FHA loan limits just by county, especially where you work, so that you just know what you're dealing with is what the loan limit is. Above that, what happens? If you're above the loan limit, what do we call that? A jumbo loan, yeah, so you go to jumbo loan. Jumbo loans are way different approval processes. It's kind of the wild west of jumbos, right? So once you got out of what we call conforming or jumbo, the pricing goes a lot different. Companies go a lot. There's no like standard 3% price in this more wild. Cool. All right. All right, we got a lot of right forms. You should have those in there here. If you're online and you don't have them, you can scan the QR code. I'm not going to go over all the revisions because we will be here for 3 days, but we're going to go over the most important ones. So, okay. Oh, also, sorry. After I do this possession, if you want more detail on everything, CAR is doing a webinar this Friday at 1:30 p.m. for free. Well, for CAR members, I should say. If you would like to go to that webinar, they'll have the lawyers on there, and they will talk ad nauseum about all the forms for like 3 hours. That is not correct. So
They had one yesterday too.
oh, they have one yesterday too. They should have this one.
Right.
Sorry. If you go to the webinar, if you go to log in, it'll have the registration. So they're doing a bunch for the interview. All right. Oh, wait, let's go back to student forms now. So we're gonna go over forms.
Okay.
Let's get out.
This little button, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that first one. All right, RPA. Here, excuse me.
Wait.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So changes to RPA are pretty simple. Pretty simple. they changed, increased deposit. Not many of you are doing increased deposits. Increased deposit means you put in your initial deposit and then to make it super sexy to the seller, you put an increased deposit. You generally only see that in the barrier transactions where you're trying to make it, for example, where you put in a deposit and then when you release contingencies, you put another deposit in just to make it super advantageous to the seller. It used to be you would fill that on the RPA, you are now not, it goes to a form called the IDA. So if you click that box, it will produce an IDA form that you'll have to attach to the RPA if you're doing an increased deposit. Any questions on that? This is the big part. We used to do an SPVB, right? Everyone knows the SPVB?
Yes.
Where you ask for your commission, right? SPVB is going away. They've integrated that, I know this is, I'm like, why did they just do this? They integrated into the RPA. So you see this form now, G3, this new one. There's credit. So you still have G1 where you ask for the seller credit for closing costs. See that? For closing costs. And then below that, any additional credit terms, but also now you have seller payment for buyer's obligation to compensate buyer's broker. And seller agrees to pay X percent. Right. One thing I note on this is another thing we're seeing with compliance errors that we're hitting people with. People are putting buyer broker agreements together with their buyers. And they're putting 2.5% on it. And then when we get a contract, they get 3%. And we're like, sorry, decline, you're only getting 2.5%. You cannot accept a commission higher than what is on your BCBA. Now, here's the thing, if you're gonna do that, that's okay. You can actually do an addendum to the BABC and change it for this property if you want to, but you have to execute that prior to getting the offer accepted. Make sense? Or at the time of offer. So that your buyer says, yes, I know I have to pay 2.5, but for this property, I'll pay 3%. Make sense? Okay, so we're in concept. You need to do that. Now, there was a requirement in the SPVB that the listing agent and seller could request a copy of the last page, the 5th page, to verify what you had signed on the BCBA, and that is going away. Now, you're just attesting that the amount you're asking for does not exceed what you put in your BCBA.
So no more page 5.
No more page 5.
Effective in January.
Yeah.
So if they ask for it next week, we still have to.
Yeah, not yet, yeah. Next week they can.
Just clarifying. I have an offer out there. Just clarifying.
But now this is just saying, you're saying, as a buyer's agent, I am affirming that I have not asked for a commission that's higher than what I have in my buyer broker agreement with my buyer. Sense? And if we see that on the client side, sure enough, we'll come slap you too, so. And if you want, then make sure you do an addendum to your buyer broker agreement that you can say for property 123 Main Street, the buyer agrees to raise my commission to 3% for this property only. Sign, accept offer, you're good. But you can't exceed it.
So we do the addendum on a specific property, but if we're addressing the BCBA, are we doing a modification of terms or an addendum?
Modification of terms, sorry, you're right,
Okay.
a modification of terms, which is also a good one. Okay. So that's right. You good? So I just want to know that because we've had a lot of problems with buyer broker agreements. 90 days, can't accept more commission than what's on there. Good. All right. Yeah. We're trying to, you guys are trying to do loophole, we're trying to take that.
So John, with the buyer broker, I know that when it initially came out, it was saying 3 months. And so we were kind of loose on the terminology for that. So now it's definitive 90 days.
90 days.
Okay.
Isn't it?
I need to adjust. the
Buyer
timeline then.
Go, yeah, it's gonna be a little more difficult, right? Get a little day calculator, put it in there.
So if it falls on, I'm being just technical here. What if it falls on a leap year? Do we go to the day before or the actual day?
For heaven's sake.
Count the days.
It's count the days. It's
90 days. No, it's not.
They originally had 3 months, they changed it to 90 days. Okay, this is a little subtle thing in there, and we've been seeing a lot more complaints on this, but they added about the defensible space. Now, this falls into, you guys already, this is already in place, remember you have to disclose if you're in a fire, okay. Let's talk. When does the defensible space come into play in a transaction? What? You are newer agents, okay, good. So, when you look at the NHD report, and it says high fire zone, or very high fire zone, or it says wildland fire zone, or SRA, state responsibility area, guess what? You're in a high fire zone. Now here's a trick, this is like balconies, okay, this is like balcony. It's not a point of sale requirement, meaning they're supposed to get inspected, clear whatever issues they need to clear, and have it certified by either CAL FIRE, the state, or sometimes a local jurisdiction fire department will do it. But you don't know, it depends on the location. You have to just figure it out. If it's SRA, state responsibility area, that is automatically CAL FIRE. Okay. And if you have to go to CAL FIRE site, you can order inspection. Okay. It's not a point of sale requirement, meaning you don't have to have it certified to have the sale close. Okay. But you're gonna make it on the hook of your buyer. So we had an incident recently, and this is how it happens. The seller can just punt the responsibility to the buyer in the FH. They can say, buyer to assume, and guess what? If it's not certified and your buyer takes it, and the county comes by and says, you need to certify it, now it's on the buyer cost. And if they come and say, you need to cut down these 3 trees and it costs $20,000 to cut down those 3 trees, you're on the hook. Okay. And literally we have, and the problem is most of the real properties, I think I saw an estimate like 80-some-odd% of the real properties aren't certified. They should be, but the owners have not gone and done it because they don't want to pay the money to do it. And you're supposed to do this every year. So what I need to know, just like the little balconies, is you need to be aware, if you see very high fire zone, they're gonna send an FHDS form to you. And you need to be very careful what they're checking, because what we're seeing is this is not negotiated on the front side with the RPA. We're seeing this come over in the seller disclosures. And TCs and everyone just sending the seller disclosures aside, and guess what? You just hook your buyer onto paying for this. And just because you were sloppy, right? Just like your TC handle the disclosures. Makes sense? And I can tell you, we have this slide. This is literally high fire zone. Agent didn't put it in the RPA. They're just going through, and we get the seller disclosures. And luckily, the TC was savvy and they caught it. And it became a broker issue where they're like, we literally had to go and do a request for repair. Says, do the inspection, right? And the seller was like, no, we're canceling because literally we're in the middle of this negotiation. They want to cancel because they don't even want to do the inspection. Makes sense? So. And if they don't want to be in compliance, that's up to the sellers.
Recording in progress.
But your buyers need to be aware of what they're assuming. The buyers, even on this transit, says, I don't care, I'll assume it, that's fine. I just want to know what I'm dealing with. Makes sense? So you just need to get your buyers on board with this. If you let it go through, we've had issues now where literally this goes through, buyer assumes, they get it certified, and there's like a big bill to cut these trees down in a rural area. So you need to understand state responsibility. I mean, if you're going into a rural area and it's high, very high fire zone in your NHD, it needs to be a red flag in your head. We need to do this. I would recommend, if you know it's a rural area, basically, if you're outside of a major city, you're pretty much in a high fire zone. Pretty much. So if you're going outside, I would be very much looking at this, and I would try to be negotiating on the front end, because we're seeing a blow transaction when it comes over something goes in the middle and no one's made decisions to get on it, right? And their seller's trying to get you to assume it, and buyer's like, heck no, right? And it blows it up. Why? Because fire is very important. It will affect your insurance. And I don't know, we've seen some insurance policies coming at, I don't know, Alex, what have we seen fire insurance real coming in?
I don't know, mine for my house is $8,000 and I live in El Dorado Hills.
She lives in El Dorado Hills and hers is $8,000. Imagine you live in a high fire zone. I've seen quotes up to $12,000, 18 grand for homeowner insurance and very high fire code. So you're talking payments that rival the, like, even on the song that we're disputing on, I think the insurance payment was 3/4 of the mortgage payment, like literally 75% of the mortgage, same, like, that's how big it was. And whether you're certified or not affects that rate too, so. You understand what I'm saying? So if you go rural, or even on the Roman Hills, you don't have to go that rural. You need to make sure you understand these things, it's very important, it's not a point of sale, so it just won't show up on the RPA just like it because it's required. And escrow won't hold it back just because it's not there, make sense? Good. The last part on the RPA. We don't have fire. That's all about your compensation. It's at the very end, and we're gonna talk about this. Entity buyers or entity sellers. This is another thing you guys mess up all the freaking time, and this is what we're talking about. Okay, you have an entity buyer, they're an LLC, corporation, investor, right? Or you have an entity seller, LLC, corporation, investor, right? Makes sense? And you're like, I don't wanna do the RCSD form, if I check entity buyer, I'm good. But it doesn't work unless you actually put the full name of the entity. It actually is an entity name. And this is trust, company, probate, whatever. So if it's a probate, it's estate of John Bardotto. That's an entity, makes sense? You need to put the name in, and then you need to put who's the authorized signer. So if you check the box and don't do anything, then we're gonna make you fill out an RCSD form, even though it says you don't have to. So save yourself a bunch of headache, and you don't have to fill out another form and have your person sign another form if you just check it and fill it out properly. But we've seen a lot of you where you just check it and don't fill it out. And the reason they're doing these edits is they're trying to get you really clear, because they know this is a big issue. You need to fill this out, right? So if you don't fill it out with both, we are going to tag it, say, no, give us an RCSD. And you're gonna have to go fill out another doc. And I'm sure your sellers and buyers love that you have to fill multiple docs saying, are they the legal representative, right? Pretty cool? This is both on the buy side and the sale side. This one, I want to show you just real quickly. Okay, IDA. This is just increased deposit form. It's a new form. I just want to show it to you. We're not seeing a lot, but it's just if you want to put increased deposit in place. RLA, so we've seen some things here, so. So they added this, they added this new form on, it used to be on the MLS form addendum. Now they moved it on to the listing addendum where it says, seller, you're allowing me to say, quote, quote, the seller will offer concessions to the buyer. Does that make sense? Getting authorization to do that. And they give you 2 checkboxes. It says, if check seller authorized buyer broker to market the seller as willing to consider offers asking for concessions. No amount of possible concessions will be stated in such marketing unless seller notifies the broker in writing of that amount. You understand? So if you're gonna say, yeah, the seller's offering 2.5%, you need to have that in writing.
Where?
Put it on the, listen here, okay. What?
I said anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
Right.
Preferably
The
like,
listing
you know,
agreement,
there's another term,
yes.
be like, right here. You know, like,
It's in the listing.
yeah. Yeah, I would get an email, get something in writing where they're signing saying, I'm saying 2.5%, right? Or whatever they're saying. Also says any other market outside of us, so I recommend you, if they're willing to offer seller concessions, you need to check both boxes. They're saying, I'm allowed to say sellers are providing concessions on MLS and in other marketing. Cool.
So if you're just gonna tell agents when they ask, write it into your offer, you don't have to mark these boxes.
If they call you and say, I want to, will your seller consider seller's concessions? If you don't have these boxes, you have to say no.
Okay, so is that, then that's just considered any other marketing? A phone call is considered any other marketing?
Correct, any other marketing. No, it's saying advertising that, this allows you to advertise that, or, yeah, even on a phone call to say, yeah, seller will consider seller concessions. If they don't check the boxes, you can't, you have to say the seller will not consider seller concession. So that means you're telling the buyer they didn't get your own commission, what you're doing. There. So almost the way we see things and run through the brokerage is 99% you should be checking these boxes. Because you're getting the seller to agree to some concessions for compensation. So I would automatically check these boxes. If the seller is adamant about not paying a commission, buyer's gotta pay the buyer's agent. You don't check these boxes, and when you talk to someone, you say, no, they're not doing seller concessions, figure it out, right?
John, can I just add, these
So,
are seller concessions.
Yeah.
This is not commission.
Mm.
Don't call it a commission. Especially if you're advertising, you cannot call it a commission in the MLS, but even if you're advertising on any platform where there's other brokers on that same platform, refrain from calling it a commission, just call it buyer's concession, buyer credits, or seller credits, seller concessions, everybody hears you.
Yeah, everyone hears you.
Don't use
Don't
that
say
word.
compensation, don't say commission.
Yeah.
Advertising, say seller concessions, we're all, that's like our term, right? Gotcha. We good? Okay, they also on the.
is our MLS changing to where we can put it back in there now?
No,
No,
no, you can put it in confidential agent remarks. There is no field for it, but you can make a comment in confidential agent remarks. Seller is offering buyer concessions with or without a number, but if you're gonna put a number in there, make sure you've got it in writing from your client.
So
Got
if we have active listings right now where that is a confidential agent remark, does that have to be removed?
not if you're on the old listing agreement.
Okay, got it. So like if we have current listings that have already been signed without these boxes, the verbiage that we could put in confidential agent remarks can stay, correct?
LSA form. Where
These-
the checkboxes are.
It's current, yeah, it's
It's currently on the MLSA form. And there currently allows you to say you can offer seller.
It basically says the same verbiage, it's just on that form, now it's moved over here.
Now it's moving to the
If we have listings signed that are gonna go live in the new year, do we need to amend them with the new version, or we're good with the old version because it does state it in the other places? They just changed the
You
look.
could have that MLSA already with that old version, which puts the same language in place anyway. They're just moving into the RLA now.
Okay, thank you.
And that doesn't happen until January 1st. Well, if we're listing a property this week,
If you list a property this week, you should use the old RLA, but on top of that, you'll have an addendum that says MLSA. Because that is required, and it'll attach the, or if you put up the broker tag, it'll attach it. And then there is a box that says, seller, you're allowing me to say you're offering buyer concessions or seller concessions.
That also on new builds. What's that? New builds as far as the concessions. So if you're already in.
Let's talk about new builds, yes, because I've got this a lot, so.
Okay.
You have a BRDC in place with the buyer, they go to a new build. What happens in most new builds?
There is no co-op.
they don't give you
Co-op.
commission.
You actually don't earn a commission, most of the time you're referring your client to them, and they are dual agency in the transaction, you are not a party to the transaction. Now, it's a referral agreement, your BRBC does not apply. Because it's a referral agreement, not a commission. Does that make sense? Remember, the legal actions that happen at most home builders are, you get the referral, that's why they call it a referral fee, right? You get a referral fee, you are giving, just like you give a referral for someone moving to San Francisco, right? You are giving them the client and taking a referral fee. When you do that, you are removing yourself as their agent from the transaction. When you remove yourself from your agent from that transaction, you cannot earn a commission. Because you cannot earn a commission, your VRBC does not apply. So if they say you get $1,000 only, suck it, it is what it is. And actually, your buyer doesn't have an obligation to pay you because you're not their agent. They're literally the agent, they're the, not you.
So does it, I'm in a new construction contract right now. So does this mean I would need a referral form with the builder rather than sending them a copy, proving to them that I have a BRBC with the client I bring them?
Correct. Most of the time, literally, we get the sell package. If you do a referral, we don't even, say you do a new home contract right now.
Yeah.
We don't even ask you for most of the docs. We just ask for the referral agreement. Literally in that 100, 200 pages they sign, somewhere in there, it's gonna say, you're the referral agent and they're paying this much to you. And we just say, give us that doc because that's all we need because it's a referral. It's not a contract. There's no contract. You're not involved. Make sense? Now,
Yes, but we need the buyer broker agreement. We still need to get the buyer broker agreement to even be able to show them homes, whether they're new construction or not.
Correct.
So we still need it.
You still need it before you go show. You can show new homes. Just know
new builds. Okay.
as soon as they get into contract and they earn a referral commission, your VRBC canceled. They got now you're there. You're just getting a referral.
Okay. Thank you.
I've seen some small builders still do co-op, meaning they're a regional builder, they're building 20 homes and they're just using car forms and doing a normal co-op. Now, if it's a co-op and you're still the buyer's agent, then the VRBC will apply. But I've only seen that rarely with new homes. It's only on like our small regional build, I've seen. But most of the homeowners are on a referral piece, your VRBC doesn't apply. So if you say, I got 2.5% and the builder's only at 2, I can go after the buyer for 5, it doesn't work. Because you gave up that buyer. You good?
Yes.
Okay. It's fine. All right. This is the MLS addendum. This just changed as well. I do want to talk about clear cooperation.
Number 3.
What's that?
3.
3D. Right here.
No.
Okay. Okay. There's clear cooperation policy. Does everyone know what clear? Actually, I think it's gonna go like that. I think we can do a lawsuit on this one, and I think it's gonna go. But anyways, right now we have clear cooperation policy. The National Association of Realtors has said you have to put your listing within 1 day of getting it. But MetroList is not an association-owned MLS; it's privately owned. And then, so they don't have to follow the rules, and they don't. They give you 3 days. Cool. Right. Understand what I'm saying? So you need to tell them that. So. Also, we're getting a lot of MLS fines on agents not putting their listing into MetroList on time. I want to get this very, very clear. That begin date right here, that is your date. That's. If you put in December 11th, you have 3 business days to put that in MLS. Even if you go here and you say, I want to withhold it, hold it from market for a period of time, for a public date. I want to do it 2 weeks later. And what happens is, all our agents saying 2 weeks later, and you are going in 2 weeks later and putting it in. And then you're getting a violation notice, and we've had now, I want to say $1,000 in fines to agents because you're putting in late. If you do that with the on-market date later, you have to go in, put the listing in, put the on-market date 2 weeks later and submit it. And then it shows up not approved yellow in your MLS. Makes sense? If you do not hit submit and do it there, they're gonna ding you because your actual begin date is that date that you put in the begin date. It's 3 days from this day.
3 business days.
3 business days from that day.
Does that include Saturday and Sunday?
3 business days.
So if you list on a Friday, Monday,
Monday,
Tuesday.
I never knew that.
This-
I thought it was 3 days. Oh,
This is the only thing that's business days, right? So the
I never knew it was business days.
So I just had this happen. We just took a property off the market. We're gonna relist it on March 1st.
Okay.
And I did the wrong thing apparently, because I was thinking we need to have them signing as of the date they're actually signing. So if we put the March 1st date at the top, how is it binding as of the date that they actually signed it?
The date they actually signed it is the listing date in that case, is my understanding. Am I correct on that?
If you, okay, so you put March 1st, say, and they sign it today.
Right.
Okay, the listing date isn't that.
But if they sign it later, then
Oh, yeah, so there's 2 things, okay, yeah,
Yes.
okay. That does come into play, okay. It gets complicated for agents, that's what I wanna know, because this is the number one thing everyone's getting fined on. I can tell you that right now from all those violations all over the place. Alright? Whatever begin date you put in there, that's the listing date. And you go in, when you put listing date in, and 2 weeks later, but if you didn't submit it with the on-market date 2 weeks later, you're gonna get dinged. Because your begin date was December 11th, and you should have put it within 3 business days of December 11th. Makes sense? So a lot of you are doing listing agreements, even though you're going live 3 weeks later, you're putting today's date, so everyone signs, and you're just waiting 3 weeks to put it in. The other option is you put the date you want to go live in that spot. If you put March 1st, then you have no obligation to put it in MLS till 3 days after March 1st. Makes sense? The only caveat that agents get scared of is saying, well, the sellers technically don't have a contract with you until March 1st or whatever expiration date. Someone could come in, another agent could come in and they could list up to February 28th or 29th, and it would be valid. Makes sense?
Even if the date prepared and the date signed is a different date, and then the beginning date was the date of the listing going live?
Correct.
Mm.
The seller, because you're essentially telling the seller, I will list your house from March 1st to this date. Technically, so some people have that fear. I've always put the listing date that we're going live in there because I don't want to input it early because I think it's double entry then. Because what happened is I put in something junky in there. I put the on-market date and I hit submit, and it sits there, and then I have to remember 2 weeks later to put it in, otherwise it's gonna go live. I had this go live with like junk. Because it goes live automatically on the on-market date, and they called you and said, oh, we need another week, you're like, okay, you forget to do it, and then it goes live all junky, right? So, if you want, you just put the list date, but then you just have to trust your sellers. I imagine, I've yet to have a seller that I had an on-market date that was 3 weeks, 3 months out, signed with someone else for a shorter period of time before that. I've never had that happen, because they're your sellers. If you're worried about that, then I would question your value with your sellers in your presentation. They do their pretty well to you at that point. So if you want to absolve that, you can put the begin date as the date you want to go live, and then you won't have that issue. But if you do put it as today, you'll have to go in, submit it within 3 business days, and put one photo in. They're gonna ask for a photo. You're gonna have that one photo that you just take on your phone on the front of the house, and you have to put it in there, put the on-market date 3 weeks out, and submit it. Then you'll be okay. And then go back in and re-enter it later when you have all the stuff. Or you can put the March 1st date. And oh, by the way, the on-market date only goes up 90 days. So if you're signing something more than 90 days, you can use the on-market date. You just have to put the date.
Dawn,
Yes.
I have 2 questions. So first one was on the timing. So I think maybe it was Sherry that answered, I'm not sure. But if you put like your beginning date of, let's just say, December 12th, and then you send it over to your client DocuSign, and let's say they don't sign it until December 13th. So then which date is it we're using?
Sherry was mentioning, which is correct. If they sign it, if the client signed the listing agreement after the begin date, You said the 11th, they signed it on the 13th, right?
Correct.
Then your begin date is the 13th, not the 11th.
Okay.
Even though it says 11th, but they signed after the begin date, the begin date moves there. Now,
Okay.
that doesn't move your expiration date 2 days. You just have a shorter listing period now. Makes sense?
And then one other question. So on counting, we were talking about the calendar day thing. So if you have your client sign their listing agreement today, or not today, on a Friday, you said, I think you said Friday, Monday, Tuesday. Is it? I thought we always start counting the next day.
You're
'Cause
right.
Yes, you're right.
So it could be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday if it's business
Yes.
day.
If you go to the days terminology in the RPA, it says days always start with 0.
Mhm. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay.
If you put a Friday list date, technically, you'd have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to put it in.
Okay, thank you.
This is a leap year.
Ooh, Are we done? Are we done with MLS now?
I have a question.
Okay.
Hold on, because
It's very complicated. People get
Yes,
stuff
it is.
all the time, so I want,
So,
and the problem is because you have choice. That's the
What
problem,
is-
you have choice.
what if you pass the 3 days? Okay, we'll use your example, 12/11
Yeah.
is the date that you put for the beginning date on the RLA. Something happens, they can't sign till like the 17th. So you've passed your 3 days.
No. Remember, if they sign after your begin date, so you have 11th on there, they don't sign it till the 17th,
Yeah, 6 days
then
past.
then the begin date is the 17th, not the 11th.
Okay, do we need to draft anything on paper that
No,
says
that's the way-
anything?
What if you just forget?
Forget, well, okay, yeah, so say you put the 11th and you don't, and you're like, oh, and you just, we're waiting 2 weeks, it's no big deal. You just don't put it in. Guess what happens when you put it in? Fine, MLS violation. And if you repeatedly do this, I know this is a big problem because you have to, MLS just doesn't fine you right away. You have to go like through, I think it's three violations where they start fining you. And if we're getting a fine, if you're doing this on every listing, because you're getting fined now, that means you had 3 errors and you haven't fixed it, right? So now I see fines happening. So that you did do it one way.
Can
One
you
or two
just
ways.
do an addendum to it or whatever, a modification of terms when you catch it and then update the date on that? And you just have to admit to your client that you need them to change the date?
If MLS kind of says, show me the docs, you will still get fined if they were after the 3 days. Make sense?
I don't understand that last scenario. So are you saying?
She's saying, I messed up, I put the 11th, it's now the 17th, I didn't put it in, I was supposed to get around it, I'm gonna sign a
Modification.
modification to the listing that says, we're moving the date from the 11th to the 17th. Does that make sense? But if you sign that on the 17th, technically that's not valid. Does that make sense? So you're trying to skirt it, so just get it right, that's what I'm gonna say, so like.
Email compliance amethyst@metrolist and ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Before you
Now,
enter
if you're
it
gonna
in.
violate-
I'm
Email
not
them-
saying I did this.
Email them ahead of time and just be like, hey, this happened. You can see from my record, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't happen. Ask for they're humans on the other end too.
Yeah, and here's the thing, if you ask specialists for forgiveness, they'll usually waive a fine here or there, but if they're just like hyping fines on you, it's because they've seen you have a record of it, like you're just repeatedly violating, you're not listening. So if you listen and fix it, they'll be gracious, but if you just repeatedly violate, you're getting fined on it, you're gonna get fined, and if they're fining and saying, no, you're just fine. And trust me, we do it because it charges the broker, we get fined and we just charge the broker, so.
I will
Alright, so
say,
here-
sorry.
Go ahead, Essie.
So I actually get asked all the time, how long do I have to enter it in MLS? If you ever forget, on your Metrolist dashboard, there's actually little short videos that Metrolist put out for their MLS rules. And it's like a 1 minute, 2 minute video where they go over counting days.
Just have to remember, if you're gonna put it in today, the day they sign, you gotta put in you gotta submit it today, like within 3 days. In my practice, I don't wanna mess with all that, so I just put it on the day we're going live, I don't care. You know what, seller, you can have 3 weeks to go list with someone else. Right, for that. Right, so I just put the day. Okay. Cool?
That's not likely to happen because
I've never had.
they already have. a
I've done some work
relationship.
6 months out, we don't go live for 6 months. and
Right?
they-
Totally.
If you have the seller, you have the seller. If you're worried about that, I'm worried about your value proposition.
Right.
That's what I'm. Woo, we good? Just wanting to know, a listing period, and this was already there, but I wanted to put it out there, reminder. They capped the listing period to 24 months. I'm sure you probably, we've seen stuff happening where we've had listing agreements come out with 10 years on them.
Wow.
And we've seen buyer broker agreements like with 10 years forever, all of California. So they're putting restrictions on us now, like 24 months max on a listing agreement, okay? Okay, I just want to touch on the seller counter offer and the buyer counter offer. This is also on the seller multiple and buyer multiple, not the buyer, seller multiple, buyer counter, so on. They're adding saying late acceptance. The offer is valid regardless of whether any previous offer comes to expire. So how many of you have submitted an offer? There's an expiration date on the offer of 3 days, and they don't respond in 3 days, and then they send a counter. Or vice versa, they send a counter, you don't respond in 3 days, and or whatever the timeline is, and you get acceptance though, but it's after the dates. And sometimes you'd be like, okay, do an addendum and just note that the expiration date moved and all. So now we put in language that says, if you accept it and it's after the expiration date, it's still valid. So now default, we don't have to worry about that. If you sign something, even after it's if your client signs something, even after the expiration date that's stated in the RPA or the counter offer, you will get that. SBQ, I want to put this in here.
Really quick, so does this mean we have to start submitting withdrawal of offers? Like say if we send a counter offer and it expires, but the buyer sends it back signed after it's expired, we need to formally withdraw it before that then, don't we?
You need to what?
Withdraw it.
Okay, so say if we sent out a
If you
counter
want it
offer.
accepted, yeah, if you don't want it, like your buyer's like, I'm done. But you need to withdraw that offer, right? Like say it's sitting out there, say you they do a seller counter, you do a buyer counter, seller doesn't respond in 3 days, you move on, you go find another buyer and they sign it later, technically under that it says, if they sign it, you're good. You're still in your contract. So I would formally now withdraw, right? So if you're done with property, say we're done, withdraw it. There's a WO form you can do, or you can just email and say we're withdrawing our counter. We're not signing, we're withdrawing. Make sense? So. Okay, SBQ, they added this in. There's a new law about, they want to disclose about domestic water storage tank assistance. So sometimes you see in communities with those big old tanks of water. You know, those big ones. Those tanks are actually backup water in case the water system fails. It can do like 24, 40 hours, a certain amount of hours based on the amount of water in there, right? And they could keep water going to the people until they get the service connected. So, there's cases in rural properties where you have a domestic well. The problem is we've been pumping so much water in California from below, we're drying it out. And so I don't know if you know wells, but they go down a certain amount of feet. And then what happens if the water level goes below that, then you're screwed, you're not getting water. So, and getting someone to go in and extend it is a very expensive proposition to do. So what they end up defaulting back on is the domestic water source assistance. That makes sense? The backup water kicks in because there's domestic well not deep enough. So this is saying if you're on a domestic well and you need backup because your thing is not deep enough sometime of the year, like part of the year it's not deep enough, like it may be working in the winter, but not in the summer. Makes sense? Then you need to disclose, your seller needs to say, do I rely on backup water sometime of the year? Makes sense? From a domestic water assistance source. I mean, do I have to tap into another source other than my well to get water at all the time, or any part of the year? Because this is an issue, because we've had this where there's been lawsuits because they buy the home in the winter and the water's all fine, and in the summer they can't. Now they got to pay to get other water in, and now they're saying sue. You lied to me, right? Make sense? All right. See, we should only sell urban properties. It's all rules.
That's boring.
Lead-based most people have no reports, no nothing now, but now. They got an initial. So fire attendants like, we have received copies of reports pertaining to lead-based paint or if initial, I have not received any records to reports regarding lead-based paint. Now where the form is requiring the buyer to acknowledge that they haven't received any reports on lead-based paint. Before it's just signed date, but now they got an initial that they haven't received reports. So just a little bit for your TCs or whoever's doing this, you're gonna have to throw another initial in there. That have your buyer acknowledge they haven't received reports. Obviously, if there was lead-based paint on reports, you wouldn't initial it. Good? They have this form, and I just want to note this because they brought it back. We've seen a lot of people move brokerages mid-transaction.
Oops.
Which is fine. But this is, and there's a tober, but this is cancellation agency confirmation, so you can cancel agency, and this is also applies, okay. If you take a list, we actually had this, you take a listing and say you're dual agency because they walked into your open house and they're doing it, and we've had cases where now they don't like the buyers are being unreasonable, they don't want to do the agency, and the listing agent mid-transaction is saying, go find your own, either go be represent yourself or go find another agent. I'm done. Which they can do, little issue, but we've actually had that case at hand right now. And they would issue this cancellation agent confirmation to those buyers and say, Your Honor, I'm done. Make sense? So I'm only bringing this form up now because we are seeing more of that happen. And then, why did I do Tober? There's also a Tober, which is, this is covert, but there's Tober. This is CAT. Tober is a transfer of broker representation. So Tober you would use if you're moving brokerages. So this would acknowledge, so if you join KW and you have your representative on your old one and you want to move the representation, you can use the Tober form to acknowledge the other side that I've now moved my brokerage and the commission should go here instead. Cool. There's nothing in the TDS. I do want to note, well, a little bit, but I do want to note that we are getting a lot of people not checking this box. Seller is or is not occupying the property. And the date here. So TCs, assistants, agents, if you're doing your own stuff, please note we will shut it back if we don't have a date. And we need to know if they're occupying or not. We have other issues. We've had this a lot, where agents are not doing their agent visual inspection disclosures properly. We should probably teach this one. This is what I recently did. You should acknowledge if there is nothing to report. Don't just leave it blank. I've been in lawsuits with agents, and they just left it blank. They said there was nothing there, and then the buyer's attorney is questioning whether they even looked at that room because you didn't put anything. Make sense? So if there's nothing to report, then put nothing to report. Okay. I put that. Don't put things like that's mold.
Not an expert.
You just describe things. You don't put colors. You don't put adjectives. You stay away from adjectives. What's an adjective? Everyone remember English adjectives? When you add a little color to things, or you don't do that. So you say there's a stain. There's a dark spot. There's a spot there. There's a hole. Make sense? You do not diagnose anything. You are not licensed to diagnose anything. Okay. If it is unclear on the bedrooms or bathrooms, please designate what room you're actually looking at. Trust me, this comes up in lawsuits. You need to say, I looked at, that's why you see my master, upstairs right, upstairs left, right? I'm putting designations on what room I'm looking at. Makes sense, so that if it went to lawsuit, they would know, I looked at that room, right? Makes sense, so. Downstairs, bedroom, bathroom. If there isn't, so they have 4 baths now on there, if there's no 4th bath, I put NA, not applicable. That means there's no 4th bath, I'm not just leaving it blank, I put it. So what you wanna do is make sure that you're very clear on your thing, so. Any questions? Anyone wanna add anything? No. All right, few more things, hold on, sorry, it's going along, there's a lot, so. All right, let's go. LRA, we talked about all that. Oh, property management, this is for just some of you who do property management.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
for the Avid,
Yeah.
I see agents where they take pictures with it. Is that something you advise, like if we can, is it beneficial for us to take pictures of something?
I have different people, I've had different attorneys argue different ways on this. I really don't mind the pictures, I found them actually helpful for you to say, I saw that and I noticed them. But what I don't want is, remember, listen, it's significant defects. Significant defects. So if there's just pinholes in the wall from pictures that used to be up there, that's not a significant defect. If you're taking pictures of everything, you're putting too much information in. Make sense? If there's a hole in the wall, I would take a picture of that. Because use Glide for this allows you to do pictures. I don't mind a lot. I have veterans argue that less is better. But if you're confident in identifying significant issues, then I don't mind, but. It's. I don't, I'll let Sherry go on.
John, prior brokerage, we were even asked to put in, and I know this is a visual inspection. So it's what you see, right, without, disturbing the property. Exactly, but we were asked to also include like odors that were obvious. And sounds such as trains, or is that applicable at this brokerage or not?
I would agree with that, so.
So.
And I have seen lawsuits on that. I've seen lawsuits from, they didn't tell them about the traffic that happens from the school down the street that causes backup on the street at 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's traffic. I've had it where a house backed up to a supermarket place and every morning you hear beep, 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 because they're backing up to the truck back there.
Okay.
So
That's on the Avid or the TDS?
if you're there and you hear the beep, 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 I'm disclosing it.
Yeah, because you're documenting the time too.
Yeah, because that's why it says, what's your date, what's your time? I have to disclose it. It's only visual then. Now, here's the thing, there's a get out Jeff here. If your seller tells you something that's a defect with the house. And we advise them, you should put this on the TDS-SPQ, we should put this on TDS-SPQ, and they're fighting you, your get out jump free card is I put it on my agent visual card. That's other. And we've had this fight, trust me, because people are like, I don't want to, we've had one that says, I don't want to split the death in the family. And they just wouldn't, and the agent knows, or there was a death in the family, death on the property, right? So we're, you're gonna have that discussion, so I'm gonna put it on my ad, but you don't put it on your TDS because it has to be disclosed. And I now know it. If you know there's a significant defect with the property, such as that, then you need to report that. That's so. If you're a property manager, just know there is the new forms. I'm not gonna put them up. But one thing that did change in law was screening and credit reports. Now it says if you charge a screening fee to have someone apply for a rental for you and you charge them and pull a credit report with that fee, which you shouldn't be charging fees or not, correct? The applicant is required to receive a copy of that credit report within 7 days of after pulling.
That's if they're paying you. So like if they go to a third party that provides the report that we use, they didn't pay us for it. They paid that third party.
If it's for your listing and you're charging that fee and you put it in there, I would say.
But I'm not charging that fee. Well, the third party is charging a fee. I don't get any money.
Rent spree.
What?
So if you're using rent spree and they costs $39.99 for the application. We're not charging it.
I didn't go into it in detail, we can look at the law, but what I'm gonna say is, I don't trust another third party to make sure I'm in compliance with the law. I would not do that personally. If it's your listing and using a third party website, they're gonna say, we're just a marketing firm, we're just a marketing service firm, it's your responsibility. I guarantee if I looked at your service agreement, there's like, if there's compliance lacking in this, it's your fault, I guarantee it says that, right? So I would be very careful about using third parties, say, oh, they're collecting the fee, it's not me. From a consumer standpoint, it's you. You're listing, you're just using a third party to get the service, the money goes there, not to you. They don't, I can tell you, Housing and Community Development Department won't care, they'll say that you're the property manager. You incur the fee, you do give them the damn credit report, I guarantee they'll say that, trust me. So, I wouldn't just say, oh, it's going somewhere else, I'm not seeing it, but if you're seeing the credit report, I guarantee you should probably making sure it's getting disclosed back.
And maybe you can't answer this either. On that third party, they're given a copy of what they signed at that point in time. They have access to their credit report at that time.
Okay, I mean, I would just assure that's happening, because in California now, they have to get a copy within 7 days.
Just a question, well, we could talk more, because if they're applying on Zillow for the property, you're saying that they have to.
What I'm saying is put, and literally said, the person managing the property is responsible. Period, that's who they put the responsibility on.
Okay. I mean, it might be good too, because then I could tell them, yeah, you got.
I mean, you could say, hey, you know, Registry complies with the law, or it doesn't, but you need to make that judgment, right?
Yeah. Zillow.
To offer of tenant positive rental reporting, this is a new law as well. The tenants now have the right to request that the housing provider report positive rental payments to a consumer report needs. So that you can essentially help them with their credit by reporting rent, on-time rent payments, or non-rent payments for them, or late rent payments, to a credit reporting bureau, at least one. Now, you don't have to offer this, but if you don't offer it, you have to at least disclose that you're not. And if you are, then you can use this form, and that will say, here's what it is. Makes sense? It's not required that you offer it, but you have to at least disclose that you're not offering it. Okay. Questions on that? All right. Commercial. Andy, you want to come up first?
Can I kind of wanted to go back just a little bit, just to share something with you guys, if you don't mind. Can you hear me? So when I was sitting in one of the broker panels at CAR, they went over the Avid and the stuff that you were talking about earlier, and they talked about taking photos, and they talked about multiple lawsuits where the attorneys went after the agents that took photos for their Avids. And it's not that they took photos and then didn't have a description with it, but the argument was, why didn't you take a picture of this? Why didn't you take a picture of this? So just be aware, if that's how you choose to do it, that if you had to go to trial, that's one of the first things the attorney is going to come after you is if you use photos, they're going to ask you, why didn't you take a picture of every crack in the stucco? Why didn't you take a picture of blah, blah, blah? And that's how they're going to diminish your Avid. Just a point of reference.
You don't want the diminishment, or if you're going to take photos, make sure you do everything that's listed on your app, you have photos of all of it, right?
How can you do that, right?
Yeah, so if you don't want to have photos, I'm fine with no photos, so.
Yep.
Okay. Commercial forms, we have some commercial stuff happening, which may affect you if you're actually doing leasing stuff.
So here's the fun part about NFB 1103. So we're gonna touch on this one really, really lightly, just due to audience. So if you have any commercial leases that you are interacting with, let me and John know, and actually Sherry as well. Because we are gonna be the ones that are gonna help you properly engage your clients. There are shifting in smaller client spaces, as you can see. The definition of micro enterprise is now any business that is fewer than less than 10 employees or a nonprofit organization with fewer than 20 employees. So a lot of the mom and pop organizations or the smaller nonprofits that aren't necessarily, they don't register a ton of employees on file. Those people qualify as these micro enterprise tenants. So their qualifications, the way that the landlord interacts with them on a legal basis is shipping, which is a huge component when you think about how in commercial, let's say we negotiate a 5-year lease, every year has a bump. And what I mean by bump, it means it goes up. Well, if they're not properly informing these tenants, your landlord is going to miss out on that amount.
They can't bump
Up,
it, yeah,
up,
no, it's.
right? So just an example of how you can show up as a professional with your clients and really set yourself apart, right? So if you are engaging with these types of clients on one side or the other, let us know, okay?
So
AB2.
I just wanna, this is a change, residential, there's a bunch of rules. Commercial, there was no rules protecting tenants. Now there is some for these micro.
There are rules that protect.
Yeah, you can't bottom, can't do that, but
But they
yeah,
are more, well, you have different levels of clientele, right? If you have an organization that is larger, there's a different level of sophistication of how they interact with contracts, right? And legal liability that they, and how they conduct their businesses within those asset classes, all right? So we.
so small ones, they're trying to protect the small ones.
We just,
Don't have it.
we talk to attorneys a lot, okay? So, all right, AB 2992. On the first slide that John discussed about the 90 days, yes, it does apply to all of us now. Yay.
Even commercial, so.
Even commercial, with the caveat. If you have any, and this is for residential people too, if you're interacting with any investors and they put their assets in holding companies like LLCs, corporations, or partnerships, you actually have the qualification to do a longer term agreement. Okay, so you're not held to the 90-day requirement. All right, so.
But you still have to have one in place.
You still have to have one in place, which if you guys need help, like John said earlier, with your consultation, that upfront conversation that you have with all of your clients, don't have it, you should be having that. If you need help with that, let us know. We can help coach you, you can mock it, but that value proposition and the more graceful way of saying, hey, we look forward to investing our time into you and working with you, and we expect the same thing back. This is a business relationship. So let's make it a win-win and let's get you guys to your goals. That conversation should we have this. So let us know if you need help with some mocking or scripts, things like that, we'll help you out. But yes, it is applicable to everybody now. Any questions? How many of you work with investors? Okay, how often do you write a contract and it is for John Garcia and or assignee?
Well, it varies. Sometimes they use an LLC, sometimes it's a private. And
Okay.
This is just for rental properties, and I'm assuming from what you were saying that this could be included now. This is included.
So SB 1103, it discusses, and from at least our initial review, it does discuss only commercial.
So commercial tenants
So
who have a business small in this, now there's reporting requirements. You can't just, here's a contract 5 years, it goes up every 12 months, now you have to report to them. You can't just raise it, you have to notice them saying, we're raising it per the contract, you know,
the
certain
smaller
bit,
one.
the
So
smaller.
we're gonna have to start treating our smaller companies like residential tenants for the most part. We're gonna have to give notices at a certain time frame. They're gonna have to be posted in a certain way. You know, all of that fun stuff that you guys do on the property management side and on the residential tenant side.
It's gonna likely happen with a micro enterprise.
It's starting to be pulled up to those tenants. But so to bring it back to the question I asked, so if you have somebody that you're writing a contract up and it says John Garcia or assignee, that contract is pulled and binded to John Garcia, who is an individual, right? That contract better not be longer than 90 days. All right, now if it is Sac Metro or assignee, that's likely an LLC or a corporation, which you can look up if you're working with those, you should know how to. That contract can be longer than 90 days.
So commercial must have a buyer broker in place now, but doesn't have to do the 90 days. They can long as it's a corporation. If it's an individual, even if it's commercial and it's an individual, 90 days.
Yes. And residential,
Always.
if it is. if it's residential and you do have the 90 days and it's with a individual, yes. If it's with a corporation, partnership, or LLC, come talk to us, because you may have an exemption to longer than the 90 days, okay?
Correct.
Yes.
I do wanna know, we have a commercial, we have, just a policy, we don't allow residential to do commercial, I just wanna keep putting that out there. The only way you can do commercial is either refer or get a commercial agent that's approved commercial to co-it with you, or, or we may allow some agents to do it themselves if they have experience, but you have to have commercial director and broker approval to do that, so. Other issues, we talked about this, Rachel, you want to talk about it?
So our new policy, I don't know if you've seen my emails go out or my comments in command, we are requiring you to submit your commission within 3 days of having an accepted offer. So when you upload your offer, submit your commission right away. Our DA turnaround time is 48 hours. So the MCA has 48 hours to get it back to you once you submit it.
And that's on submission and revisions, 48 hours. So we're seeing a lot of this, where agents get lazy, they either submit it at the end, or what we see in a lot is, oh, there's, credits in the transaction, all this stuff changes, price changes in the middle of the transaction. They wait till the end we get the check and they're like, oh, there's some revisions, here you go, here's revision. We are stopping doing we're doing so many emergency, we're not doing that. Now, if there was a legit change at the end, that means right at the end, something went wrong on the walkthrough and you just put a credit in, okay, we'll consider that, right? But if we knew that you had this credit in there for 3 weeks and just never told us, then we're gonna take the 48 hours. And if we take 40 hours and check's sitting there for 2 days, and your check's sitting there for 2 days. Does that make sense? So you need to you guys are ignoring your commission demands, just letting your TCs handle it and assistants handling it. But you need to let them know. A lot of times the TCs don't even know because you never told them. And now we're sitting there last minute and your check is on hold because you just didn't get in the commission demand that you provided your commission to, right? And it's not even us holding it. Literally, most of the escrows now won't even cut the check. We have one escrow company that won't even close without an accurate commission demand. Like they will hold the close up until they get a valid commission demand, accurate commission demand to us. Right? So if you had an initial commission demand, but you did some credits and stuff, and escrow's like, this is wrong, they're gonna hold close on until we get it there. So I think this can sound stupid if you're like holding close on a listing that's supposed to close today because you haven't submitted an accurate commission demand to us. Also, we're seeing a lot of escrow companies now email us a form to sign. Watch the TCs are emailing this. They're emailing the agent saying, get your broker to sign this, which is saying, this is the commission. Literally, they're like, this is the commission. We will not sign those if you don't have a commission demand that reflects that same amount. So we will say no, and now that will also hold an escrow. So we will say, if there's no commission demand on file, please do that. So please send all commission requests to klrw531@kw.com. There was a Google form where you can submit revisions. We are no longer doing revisions to the Google form, all through the email. So just please go to the email, they will be responsive. Please do that. Okay, one thing I want to know, TCs and assistants, help yourself, because we are not, before we will put the demands and put it in command for you, but now we're asking you, now we're gonna send you the demands. We're gonna send the escrow, but we're gonna send you the demands, and then we're gonna ask you to put it into command, please. So if you want your TC to do it right now, we're not asking our MCA team to remember who your assistant is or your TC is. So if your TC wants to get on that email where they get the demands so they can work on it for you, you have to put them in notes. Right now they're putting in notes in there, they put the escrow information, but if your TC wants it, they have to say, please send it also to TC, here's my email address, right?
We're sending an email requesting that? Is that what you're saying?
No, when you submit a commission demand, there's a section you put notes, and we ask you right now to put the escrow information in the notes. Okay, so in that same section, you can also put, and I have some TCs do that, where they say, please also email the TC, here's my email address. And if you put that in there, your TC will get a copy. If there's nothing in there, we're not gonna remember who your assistant is or TC is, you're gonna get it. And if it sits in your email and you do nothing, and it's wrong, and we get it closed, I'm sorry, you're waiting 48 hours. Make sense? Auditing, Rachel, talk about auditing.
along with our 3-day rule of submitting your commission, you also have to submit your file so I can review it. So when it's 3 business days, 72 hours, if you have a fully executed document, whether it's an RLA, RPA, SPQ, your Avid,
BRDC.
whatever it is, you need to get it into command and hit the submit button. Not just upload it in there because I won't know. You have to submit it so I can review. The faster I can review it, the better for you and your file and getting your check on time.
All right, this is not us, this is DRE. DRE has a regulation that says every sub-agent, which is you guys, has to notify the broker within 3 business days of any contract signed. Listing agreement, contract, even BRDCs. That means you have to upload it and hit submit within 3 business days. We will have a 3-day review period time to do it. So if you get to the end of the file, your check's in there, but you're missing a bunch of forms, and you submit it, guess what? You may be waiting for your check for 3 days because you're a TC or you think that the form's all your TC, and now we have to go in and audit, right? But we will, when your check comes in, we will do an automatic audit that day on the file. So we will, if it's all good to go, we will close it out. If it's not good, it gets held, and you'll be notified. Your check's in, and your file is not complete, it's on hold. And the minute we do that, we do it at 11 a.m. business day. If it's still on hold, if you're missing things by 11 a.m., it gets punted the next day. That's what happens. So, and trust me, I have people coming at me all the time. We're not running around. You need to get your commitments. You have 30, 45 days to get your file right. Not that hard. Any questions on ACHs and those? But if you have a complete file and you're checking this before 11 a.m. that day, you will get ACH the money that same day. Looking at 25, I just want to end with this. Thank you for 2000 car projections for 2025. California home sales and price are projected to increase as buyers and sellers return to the market enticing by lower than better housing prices. Existing sales are forecast to be around 304,400 units in 2025, an increase of 10.5%. This is something you should probably, get out to your people, your business.
Market update.
Market update, yeah. So I want to note that 2025, they're saying a 10%, 10.5% raise in transactions. That makes sense. So if your goal is not including a 10.5% raise, that means you're going to do below market. Just noted. California's green price is expected to decline 4.6%. And then this year, we're probably going to end around a 6.8% increase. So how many of your clients saying, I'm waiting for the market to crash? You just show them this. This year, and we had it crazy, we had NAR settlement, we had a crazy presidential race, and all this crazy stuff happened, and everyone's like, the market's going to crash, and it went up 6.8%. So you need to tell them stop listening to the headlines, you need to listen to me, period, right? So, and they're expecting another 4.6% this year.
What's the source is this from Cargo?
Car Economics.
Okay.
Housing for the expected to remain stable at 60% next year is slipping from 17% in 2004. So housing affordability is kind of staying the same. But I want you to know this is a very stark factor. Housing affordability, when they say 70%, they factor in what's the median income that you can survive and have housing that you should have as a ratio of your housing, your income for housing in California. And they're saying 17%. I want to note that 17% of people with their income would beat the median income price that they recommend that people should have other housing allowance toward housing. So that means most people who own homes are exceeding what would be healthy on a ratio of their housing expense to what their income is. But it's going to stay pretty much the same, even prices going up, just because they expect rates to come down, which obviously will put. All right. I want to leave with you because everyone wants to cry about the market, and we had a 6.8% increase in pricing. Everyone wants to cry about things are going hard, and we're going to have a 10.5% estimated increase in 2025. So I'm going to say this. I look at the numbers greatly, a lot. 2025 is going to be a better year. I suspect 2026 is gonna be a great year. If you want to level up your whole career, this is the time. I've seen people go from little agent to mega agent through markets like this.
Treat your business like a business.
Yeah, if you can grind in 2025 and create a real pipeline and nurture that pipeline, in 2026, it will go bonkers. I guarantee it, and you will level up your business.
Get your 200 names.
But you gotta grind it in 2025 to get the names, gotta get the people in the pipeline. And there are people that are gonna be, there's a lot of today, they're gonna have 10% increase, but there's gonna be a lot of babies next year, blah, 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 blah. Don't let them go, because they will go in 2026, and if you don't keep in touch with them, they're gonna go somewhere else. So this is the time to, you're gonna get a 10.5% raise, but you're also going to have a big pipeline that you wanna take into 2024. You wanna have a ton of calls at the Christmas time next year and say, what's your plans in 2025? I know we've been talking all year. And I said, yeah, spring next year, we're good. That's what you want, and you'll get a lot of those.
Great momentum.
Make sense? So, the opportunity is here. And you're still here. Just know 2023 and 2024, as far as transactions statewide and nationally, were one of the lowest since the Great Recession, literally over a decade.
Oh, I just heard they were the lowest since before 94.
Yeah, before 94, actually, yeah. Even, so you thought we were low in consecutive years. You thought we were low in the Great Recession. We're low back to 1994. That so historically, this was a historically number of sales bad market, and you're all still sitting here. So, and we're expecting to go up. So this is the bottom. We're at the bottom right now.
And only go up.
It's gonna go up. You want to make it happen? Go up. Write it. Commit and write it. Right. All right. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time. These slides will come out to you as well, so you can all look at them as well. Thank you, everyone.
Number seven, I love that.
Yeah, tomorrow.
I just need to add the. Have you gone? I do have a lot. I just need it right after.
Well, yes, I told her, I told her, but I'm thinking about.
But in the meantime.
Yeah, I'm just hanging out. That's not for the year, but we'll have a big one. Commercial, I know how that is, but. Yeah. I know that. It's not just me. Not Superman. Okay. Great. I'll reach out to you because I want to talk to you. Okay.
No, okay, so do that in the meantime if you can, and then on Tuesday, we get together.
The reason is because there is no.
How you doing? Fantastic.
Yeah.
You like good updates?
Yeah.
You get some good updates?
Yeah.
Hoping it's not in the main one.
Hi,
nice to meet you.
Finally, yeah.
Right, Chrissy was coming. Right, you would have had to, but
Say hi to her, yeah.
very nice to meet you.
Hey, likewise, yeah.
I do
Thank you so much.
If you ever need that.
If you need help finding a form, let me know.
Yeah.
But you should be able to find it.
You know, have a, especially when it's like big grant.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go this way.
When he's ready, I'll keep following up.
Yeah, sounds great. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
I also, you know. I think she, yeah, I know, that's stepping up. I mean, I don't do it by myself, but I can find my crew. And-
That's the chief. But that's, she should be, you know, she runs on her own time schedule. Right.
That's right. All right, man. You too, man.
No, I had to go, my office had like the holiday potluck, so I had to stop in there just to like say hi to all the employees and everything. And then come back and it's the holiday season, you're all over the place.
How you doing, man? You too. How you been?
Oh, living the dream?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Victor. Nice to meet you. Yeah, man, I'm just, just dropping off. I got I do sewers now, I do commercial now, so I'm letting everybody know.
Excellent. Excellent. You got all your paperwork in the back, I thought, right?
Yeah, it's still there, but it runs out or I get pushed to the back, so I gotta say hi to everybody again. It's just been a good year, so I'm hoping for next year will be better.
Oh, I mean, I think next year's gonna be really good. I mean, it can't be worse than the last year, so. At least that's what we said about this year, so. Yeah, but I think we're in for some good times. So.
Yeah, next couple of years, like you were saying, 26 should even be better.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, the thing is, we held on, so now it's just like, let's prosper a little bit, and then 26 we'll have off to the races. So, is it just you, or you have more people?
Oh, well, for the home inspection of sewer, it's just me up here, but we got them all over the state, mainly in Southern California.
Okay.
And Texas, Utah, like that too.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I said, commercial, I'll fly them in, because those can get pretty pricey. So
yeah.
I'll fly a crew and take care of it.
Okay. Excellent. I'll definitely keep an eye on it for you.
All right, man. Good to see you.
You too.
All right. Yes.
Do you need me to send it again? Oh, that was one I put through, same time I posted on the circle, and then there was another email I did for like the application link and stuff, just to kind of work the numbers. But I can resend that.
That.
Yes.
They're here. I'll let you know. Yeah, I take Joe. Yeah, oh, you take Joe? Okay, I'll talk to Joe. Yeah, okay, good, so.